What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another tier list. It is that time of the month. It's time for the February performance tier list. Spurs have played 3 games in the month of February. We drew 2-2 with Everton at Goodison Park. We beat Brighton by 2-1, and we lost to Wolves at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by 2-1. So 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. Not exactly the greatest month in our season.
Definition of a mixed bag.
I think that is literally the definition of a mixed bag. But yeah, last month's tier list wasn't exactly the greatest either. So I guess we'll see where we go. I don't think we're going to have that many top performers in this month, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. No spoilers. But yeah, look, there is not many excellents, put it that way.
No spoilers, I thought. But look, let's get straight into it. We're going to go from Destiny Udogie up first. I think he played 2 games this month, didn't he? Because he didn't play the Wolves game.
Correct.
He played Everton and he played Brighton. Just to let you know, like the way the tiering works. Sorry, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but it's 0 to 4.9 goes into awful, 5.5.4 goes into not good, 5.5 to 6.4 goes into okay, 6.5 to 6.9 goes into good, 7 to 7.4 goes into very good, and then all the above goes into excellent. And then obviously the best rated player goes as our player of the month. But yeah, let's start off with Destiny Udogie.
So Destiny, played the Everton away game and the Brighton at home game. He got an 8 for the Everton game, and he got a 7 for the Brighton game. So overall, and I gave him a 6. I gave him a 6 and a 7. So overall, got a 7. So goes into very.
What
good.
did I give him?
You gave him an 8 for Everton.
So I gave him an 8. You gave him a 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Be a bit of a big difference there. He did get a good assist, but I didn't think I felt he didn't have the best game. But he overall averaged out a 7 between us, so it goes into very good.
So I think it's my rating that's pushing him up into that very good, probably. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think Destiny Udogie has been probably one of the better performers, albeit not maybe his strongest month of the season, but definitely one of the better players of the squad this month. So Destiny Udogie goes into very good. Who do we have up next? Up next is Ben Davis. I mean, he played 1 game.
He did play 1 game.
And I think it was the 6s all round probably for Ben Davis, average Ben. So I think we can just put him straight into okay, I guess.
Yeah, 6 is okay. So I think perfect.
Yeah,
he was okay performance.
He was okay against Wolves. Nothing too great, nothing too bad. Just the standard Ben Davis display. Next up is Rodrigo Bentancur, and unfortunately, this is going to be a bit telling of how bad Bentancur actually has been this month.
He's averaged a 4.5.
Wow,
so
he
awful.
Goes into
Just bad.
No, he's an awful.
He's an awful.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Bentancur. I feel bad putting him there because we know how much it's how difficult it was for him to come back from injury. But I think there's no hiding that he hasn't been good this month. He's been, I think, taken off early in every game. Yeah. Apart from the Wolves game where he came on off the bench and didn't really impact the game too much off the bench. He has come out recently saying, he knows he's not in his best form, but he feels like it will be coming sooner rather than later. So look, I believe in Bentancur, but we can only say what we're seeing, and unfortunately, he just hasn't had a good month.
But better months to come for Rodrigo. 100% certain of that. The quality of the play. He's just not showing his true levels at the moment. He's, like you said, he's spoken about him coming back a second time from a long injury. He's had 9 to 10 months out in total. And I think that's going to take its toll on any player, to be honest. So I think that's what we're seeing with Rodrigo Bentancur. Next up is
Sarr,
Pape Matar Sarr. I think he's had a good month. He's returned from the AFCON in a good, rich vein of form. And the last game against Wolves wasn't great, but I think the other games were pretty good.
Obviously, probably got
came on against
best
Everton.
Player against Brighton when he obviously scored the goal. Everton, he came off the bench, had a pretty decent cameo, but overall 6.5.
6.5. So he goes into good.
Yeah, I think that's fair representation. I think he's made an impact when he's come back. He's definitely helped us. I don't think he's been like extraordinary, but yeah, I think he's been pretty good. He's probably been our best midfielder, to be honest. I think maybe we'll go into it later, but yeah, our midfielder's struggled a bit over the last few games.
Definitely has. And I think, look, Pape Sarr, I was a bit disappointed with his performance at Wolves in the Wolves game, but the game before that he was the best player on the pitch. So again, I think there's better months to come from Pape Sarr, but he is easing his way back in, and one of our, if not our best performer in the midfield. So credit to him for that. Next up is Manor Solomon. He hasn't played, so he goes into can't judge.
Yeah, eagerly awaiting his return.
After that is Cuti Romero.
Cuti Romero, overall 6.7 for Cuti
So he goes
Romero.
into good as well.
He goes into good. I think he's been I think he's played quite well. Obviously, we both gave him 8s against Brighton, and then we gave him 6s against Everton and Wolves. Obviously, Everton, that costly mistake right at the end, that header that led to Branthwaite's goal, marked him down a bit. Yeah, I thought against Wolves, I don't think there was too much wrong, but we had a lot of difficulties containing Wolves, so it wasn't a great defensive display. But yeah, I don't think he's been bad. I don't think he's been one of our worst players. I think he's been all right when he has played.
Was he the best player last month, if I remember correctly? Or
he got Player of the Month for January. Yeah.
So look, it's not to those levels that he was last month, but I still think he's performing at a pretty good level. Cuti Romero. Next up is Pedro Porro. Obviously, he was out for the last game, so played the 2 previous games. Again, Pedro Porro has taken a bit of a dip in form probably in the last month. He hasn't reached those heights that he has been for the majority of the season. I think it's like his on the ball displays and the way he's impacted to dictating the tempos of the games like he likes to do, and his attacking displays have kind of diminished a little bit.
Yeah, overall 6.3. So I guess that's okay.
Okay,
goes into okay. Gave him a 7 against Everton and a 6 against Brighton. I gave him 2 6s. I don't think he's been. I think defensively he's still been good. So I don't think he's been like a liability, but Pedro Porro's biggest assets is what he gives on the ball, and he just hasn't been giving us his highest asset over the last few games. So yeah, it's probably why he's got a lower rating.
I know he's recovering from injury, but he said to everyone, don't sell him on FPL on social media. So hopefully these 2 weeks break would do him the world of good, because he's played every minute pretty much from the second game of the season up until this Wolves game, which he's been out of the team for. So I think he's needed this break.
Yeah, I agree.
Next up is Brennan Johnson. I think this is going to be a bad one, to be honest.
5.3.
5.3. I think that goal in the last minute of the Brighton game is saving him.
Definitely helped him, because he got. We didn't give him a rating against Wolves. Did not come on against Wolves. I can't remember.
He started. No. He came on late.
Must have come on late because we didn't give him a rating.
No, he did play. He came on in the last 10 minutes. We didn't give him a rating.
Didn't give him a rating, but he got a 3 for the Everton game and then a 7 for Brighton. I gave him a 4 for Everton and 7. So he just about scrapes into not good or bad. So not awful. I thought obviously he did make a bit of an impact in the Brighton game. Came on and scored, and I guess that was it. But the Everton game he was really bad. The Wolves game didn't really do much. Yeah, look, he's starting to frustrate a lot of people. Let's be honest, Brendan. As much as I'm continuing to back him, I do think he's got qualities, and I still think he's getting used to his teammates and the players and all these different aspects. The truth of the matter is, when we give him the ball on the right-hand side, he's just not doing enough with it. That is the truth, and he needs to up it.
I'm one of Brendan Johnson's biggest advocates, to be honest. I was really excited when we signed him. At the beginning, when people started to doubt him, I was always one of his biggest supporters, saying the guy needs time and everything like that. But even I am getting really frustrated with him at the moment, to be honest. And I still believe in him. I still think he'll come good eventually. But it's just not what we need at this moment in time, at this point of the season. And if he didn't get that goal in the last minute against Brighton, he would be an awful, because he was awful in that game when he came on.
Yeah.
Kulusevski up next. Another goal, a goal saving him maybe in the last game against Wolves. A really good individual effort from him. I don't think he's been at his greatest this month either.
We gave him a 6.2.
6.2, so he also goes into okay.
I saved him for that, because I gave him 2 7s and a 6. You gave him a 4, 6, and 7. You gave him a 4 against Everton. Well, obviously, he got the assist for Sarr's goal. Actually, I thought he was playing quite well against Brighton when he got taken off, so he was a bit unfortunate in that game.
Yeah, I felt like in that Brighton game, I thought he was poor in the first half. And then when he got taken off, it was as he was getting into the game. It was a really nice pass for the goal. It was just unfortunate for him, because if he would have stayed on the pitch, you never know, he could have ended up with a really good performance, but he was only just about getting into the game.
And then Wolves, you both gave him 7s. Obviously scored a really nice goal in that game. Obviously the performance overall from the attacking team wasn't great. I think Decky will concede as well. He didn't have his best game, but did score a nice goal. Watching back, that was a really hard goal to score, and he did really well. But yeah, I don't think he's at his best. I think okay is probably fair, because I don't think his performances have been good. I think they have been okay. He has been contributing, but we know he's got levels above what he's showing.
But again, like if he doesn't score that goal against Wolves, he probably gets bumped down a level. That's the reality of it. And I think Decky, it's been too long where he's just been on the periphery. I know like he plays well some games. He's not consistent enough for me, and he needs to get back to those levels. I know we've said it for so long now, to get back to those levels of what he was in those first 6 months under Conte, and he just hasn't been able to replicate that in a Spurs shirt.
I think before the new year, he was actually having a pretty good season. But I do agree.
But it's still not to those levels, though, is it?
Yeah, maybe not to those levels, but I thought he was playing really well. But I do agree, since the turn of the year, it's not been great from him.
Next up, Fraser Forster. He'll go into can't judge. He hasn't played a minute this whole season. Ryan Sessegnon. Is that Ryan Sessegnon?
That's Ryan Sessegnon.
Yeah, Ryan Sessegnon as well. Hasn't played a minute, I don't think. Or did he come on in one game?
He came on against Burnley, but that was in January.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Obviously, he's injured again now. Do you reckon we've seen his last game in a Spurs shirt?
I mean, the guy just can't stay fit. Under 21s, he came in and he lasted half an hour from the start. I mean, it's the sad case for Ryan Sessegnon. As much as like even when he was on the pitch, he had a couple of moments under Conte, didn't he? When he looked like he could be announcing himself finally as a Spurs player. But I mean, he got that injury after Bentancur got the injury, and it was before actually, and it was a hamstring injury. And like Bentancur's come back from an ACL and another injury before Ryan Sessegnon's come back. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's mad.
Next up is Giovanni Lo Celso. I don't think's played this month, has he?
I think he came off the bench against Wolves. That was his first appearance back from injury. I don't think there was a rating given, so can't judge.
Yeah, so Lo Celso in can't judge. Next up is Yves Bissouma, who came on in the Brighton game, who I thought looked really bright when he came on. And then he had a bit of a poor performance in the Wolves game.
I thought you were quite harsh on him. I didn't think he was that bad against Wolves. I thought it was like, obviously he wasn't as good as we know he can be, but I thought out of the midfielders, he was doing quite a lot of good work, I felt, actually, like in terms of defensively. But on the ball, he just, for some reason, when he's on the ball now, it's just not the same at all.
Yeah.
Like he can't do the same things. Anyway.
But maybe it's because I'm trying to rate him in accordance to what he showed in the first 10 games of the season. We've never seen anywhere close to those levels of Bissouma. And in the number 6 for Ange Postecoglou and for what we need that level of Bissouma. Like this level of Bissouma is not good enough for me. And you're looking at that goal we conceded, the second goal. I thought he was pivotal in conceding that goal. He gave the ball away. He got back, and credit to him, but he just left the man completely free in the middle of the box.
Well, we gave him a 5.8. Which is what, not good?
5.8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just goes into okay. Look, he did have a good performance off the bench against Brighton.
Yeah, I think that cameo saves him. Next up is Timo Werner. I think he's played his part in every game this month. I don't think he's pulled up any trees. I don't think he's been terrible. I'd probably say he goes into okay, I guess.
5.7.
5.7, yeah. So okay.
Goes into okay,
just about.
Yeah, it's not been a great month which I thought was a pretty positive January for him. Getting a few assists and getting involved in a few things. He just hasn't had really impacted games very well in this month. That's the truth. When he has started, I thought when he came on against Wolves, he was pretty anonymous. Especially he came on up front, didn't he? Didn't really impact the game.
He got moved out to the left fairly quickly.
And he looked a bit better on the left, but still. His final delivery has been frustrating, to say the least.
And I felt like in that Everton game, because I was sitting there right there where he was running down that left wing, and like he was getting in some good positions. But every time he gets the ball in those positions, and it's not just the Everton game, it's actually pretty much majority of games he's played for Spurs, his end product is just so frustrating every time. But anyway, that is Timo Werner. He's in okay. Next up is Big Vicario, and I imagine he's going to have a good rating. Actually, it's the corners against Everton that he struggled with in the first half. But I think after that, he's played pretty well this month.
Yeah, overall a 7 out of 10, so very good.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been one of the stronger performers. I know he got a lot of criticism. There was a lot of focus on him after that Everton game, but I think in reflection, he struggled in the first half, but then did overcome it in the second half. And then since then, I think he's made some crucial saves to really keep us in games against the likes of Brighton and Wolves as well. He's been a lot busier than he has been in previous months as well. So I think if it wasn't for Vicario, we probably wouldn't even have 4 points in this month. So I think he has had a good month.
Yeah. Emerson Royal up next. He's played one game. Wasn't a very good game. So I imagine he goes into not good.
4.5.
4.5. Awful.
Goes into awful. I thought he was awful, to be honest, against Wolves. I don't think he did anything that was that should have given him a good rating. Pretty much, I thought for the second goal he was horrific. I know Neto's very difficult to deal with, but you got to slow him down somehow. You have to try and make things difficult. He made things so easy for Neto, and I just thought on the ball, giving the ball away, playing out of play, just hampered our play in the build-up so much.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but I would say that he did make quite a number of important interceptions and blocks that could have been even more goals for Wolves.
He did make, he made a couple of blocks in the box, to be fair to him. So fair enough.
Yeah, that's the only, I'm trying to find something positive. That's the only thing I can find. Next up is Brian Hill. I don't think he's played a minute this month.
Brian Hill, nope. No rating this month.
So he goes into can't judge. Next up is James Maddison. I think with James Maddison, we've given him a 7 every game.
Apart from the last game.
What was he get, 6?
Well, you gave him a 5.
I gave him 5.
Overall, 6.3.
So okay.
I mean, the Wolves game really did hurt him because you're right. You gave him 2 7s and then a 5.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair because, when you're playing a team like Wolves, you need someone like Maddison to pick that lock. And every time Maddison was getting it, he was just, just trying to pass it around. And with someone like him, he's got that quality to either find that incisive pass or take a shot from 20, 30 yards. You know what I mean? He's got the quality to do that.
I would have put him in overall good. I thought he's had a pretty good return. Obviously, it's not to maybe the same level as before the injury. I still think he's actually put in some really good performance. I thought Everton away, he was really good. And I thought Brighton at home, he put in a good performance. But yeah, Wolves away, he was a bit lackluster for sure. So I think okay is a tad harsh, but look, can't argue with the ratings.
Yeah, you cannot. Let's go to Richarlison. 2 goals against Everton, and that's the only goals he scored this month, isn't it? He didn't get one against Brighton, didn't get one against Wolves. And I think against Brighton, I can't remember what I gave him as a rating, but I think I was a bit frustrated with him against Brighton and against Wolves. I did think he did some good things against Brighton, but I think it was a kind of mixed bag. But I think I gave him the benefit of the doubt that game. But against Wolves, I think I rated him down for it. So I imagine he goes into good.
Yeah, 6.7. Obviously, we both gave him 9s against Everton. Great brace. 2 great finishes as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't totally happy with his Brighton game, but I thought it was a lot better. He was coming in for a lot of criticism. I actually didn't. He set up a few chances. He was doing things good, but against Wolves, he was definitely frustrating.
Yeah.
Back to his frustrating worst, I would say, against Wolves. So you both gave him 4s against Wolves, so that marked him down quite a bit. So doesn't make it into very good, but I think good's fair. I think it's fair for Richarlison.
Mickey van der Ven up next. I think he's had a good month. He's probably been our best player this month, to be honest. What's he saying?
7.7.
Is that the best so far?
That's excellent.
Yeah, excellent.
That's excellent. 7.7 gave an 9 against Everton, a 7 against Brighton, and an 8 against Wolves. I gave him an 8 against Everton and 2 7s. But look, overall, yeah, I think he's been consistent. He's been he's just so consistent with his actions, and he's so hard to beat when you're running towards him, and he clears up so many long passes over the top. There's so many things that Van der Ven does which probably go unnoticed, but if it's someone else there in his position, it probably ends up being a very good chance, and that's just what he brings to the team.
Have you got the stats there for each player of the month that we've given so far this season?
I actually don't know.
Because it'd be interesting, because I think Van der Ven probably tops the lot so far. I mean, he's definitely running close for our player of the season, isn't he?
Definitely. I think he's barely put a foot wrong, barely had a bad game since he's come into the team. Even when he's playing badly, he doesn't make mistakes, really. He just maybe gets caught out of position or something, but he's just so valuable to the back line with his physical attributes. It's brilliant. So, yeah, 7.7, a really good month for him. Big
up, Mickey. Next up is Sonny. First game back was against Brighton. Obviously came on and won us the game with that brilliant assist. Showed Timo Werner what to do in one cross than what he tried to do all game, pretty much. And in the last game, he was a bit poor, though. So to average that both out, he probably goes into good.
6.5.
Yeah, just about into good. It was very close to being okay, by the way.
Yeah, very close. Yeah, I thought he had a great cameo against Brighton, albeit it was maybe that assist definitely took him up a rating for sure. But Wolves, he wasn't really involved in the game, unfortunately. Whether it be up front or on the left, he just really struggled to impact it.
Yeah. Next up is Radu Dragushin. I don't think we've given him a rating, have we?
Nope.
Because he's only come in the last 5-10 minutes of games.
I think he came on against Everton and Brighton for the last few minutes. But other than that, Wolves didn't play. So, yeah. can't judge.
Next up is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
Has he started any games this month? Don't think he has.
He started against Everton.
Oh, he started against Everton.
And then we haven't given a rating for Brighton or Wolves.
Okay. He must have come on late.
Yeah, he came on late. I thought against Wolves and Brighton, actually, I don't think he was great off the bench. Well, we've given him a average of 5. Well, because only one rating, but it was a 5. And I do think that is a fair representation of his performances this month, to be honest.
Yeah, so he goes into bad, which is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And who is that last player?
Ollie Skip.
Ollie Skippy. He hasn't played, has he?
He hasn't played this month.
No, so he came
off the bench at Everton, I think.
Okay, but didn't really do much, did he?
Rating.
So Ollie Skip goes into can't judge, and the last but not least is Ange Postecoglou, who's come under criticism this month.
A bit, yeah. We've given him a 5.8.
Wow, that's definitely got to be his lowest rating of the season.
Yeah, for sure. His lowest month. Is that okay?
Yeah, that goes into okay, Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I don't think we don't want to be any harsher than that. It's not the result of falling off a cliff, but they've obviously, with some inconsistencies, definitely gone into those results. Obviously, Everton away, we've got 4 points out of 3 games. The Wolves game was probably obviously the most frustrating one. You gave him 5s for the Wolves game. Everton as well.
What would you have given him if you were giving ratings that game?
What would I have given him? Yeah, I probably would have given him a 5. Yeah, because he didn't impact. He tried to impact the game positively. What I've noticed with Ange is that when we do this thing where we make a triple sub, it seems to like unbalance us a bit sometimes. I feel like maybe 3 is too many at one time, and I feel like he does it try and give the more energy. And look, in theory, you should be able to make 3 subs, and if everyone knows their position, it shouldn't impact the dynamic of the team too much. But at the moment, it is. Against Brighton, we made that triple sub, and I know 2 of the subs combined for the winner, but we were growing momentum, and we made that triple sub, and all of a sudden, we started the momentum switched. So I think that the subs weren't impacted well in that game. Against Wolves, he made a triple sub, and we didn't look any better. Against Everton as well, I thought we actually had quite a good second half. They made a few subs, and we were under the cosh for the last few minutes. So I do think the criticism is warranted, but I don't think we've been like terrible this month where he should get worse than okay in terms of the level of performances. Yeah, I feel like as well, like when he has gone to a 3 at the back, it's never worked. Yeah, Everton at the latter stages, we go to a 3 at the back to try close out the game. We concede. We didn't look good. I think that's the only time he did it this month, but in previous months he has tried it as well, and it just hasn't looked good. So I'm not sure if that needs just more work on the training ground, or it's just not a formation that's suited to his system. No, I wouldn't say. I think it's one he's used before and apparently had success with before. So I don't think it's a case of this will never work. But yeah, clearly we're more used to the 4 at the back, and maybe it's just when we're playing with this 3 at the back with a few minutes to go, like it's difficult to readjust with not much time. So maybe it just needs more time, but I wouldn't just completely rule it out. Yeah, fair enough. But that leads us on to our player of the month, and as you know already, it is going to be Mickey van de Ven. I do think he's probably the only guy that you can't have any criticisms for out of the whole squad, probably. I think he's been definitely head and shoulders our best player of the month, the only player that went into excellent of anyone as well. I think he's been the most consistent by far. I think his level of performance, he's the only one whose level of performance hasn't really taken a major dip, to be honest, recently. So I think he deserves his flowers. Yeah, absolutely. So let's run through those tiers with you for the February performance tier list. So in Can't Judge is Manuel Solomon, Fraser Forster, Ryan Sessegnon, Giovanni Lo Celso, Brian Hill, Radu Dragusin, and Ollie Skip. In Awful, unfortunately, is Rodrigo Bentancur and Emerson Royal. In Bad is Brennan Johnson and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. In OK is Ben Davies, Pedro Porro, Dejan Kulusevski, Yves Bissouma, Timo Werner, James Maddison, and Ange Postecoglou. In Good is Pape Sarr, Kuti Romero, Richarlison, and Sonny. In Very Good is Destiny, Udogi, and Vicario. And in Excellent and our player of the month is Mickey van de Ven. Do you think all of those are fair? I mean, would you, on the eye test, maybe without looking at the ratings, would you change any of those players? The only one I probably would change is I'll just bump Maddison up a rating. I think OK is a tad harsh, but I don't think he's been that great where I'm like shocked he's in OK, but I do think he's maybe would have been a good reflection for Maddison. But other than that, I actually think it's all pretty fair, to be honest. I don't really want to bump anyone. I kind of agree, to be honest. I think
Yeah, I agree. I've got no complaints. I mean, maybe Richarlison, that performance against Everton kind of gets him out of trouble a bit because last two performances haven't been great.
But look, you
in my
can't. Yeah, you
opinion.
can't discount the brace. You know.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. That one gets him out of trouble because it was like literally like first of the month, second of the month. But yeah, I've got no complaints about any of the other ones, to be honest. So that is our February performance tier list. Let us know in the comment section below. Do you agree with these tiers? Or if you disagree, let us know yours in the comment section below. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on.